This is right in my wheelhouse because I've been thinking about these issues for a really long time, and I'm just finishing a book about this. And I think first of all, the kind of empirical grounding for this is important. The U.S. has less social mobility relative to basically every other OECD country, but for England. In fact, England is the only place that is less mobile than the U.S. It's very hard to measure mobility over time, but one of the things we've seen is that since the 1980s and the 1970s, 80s, that mobility has, if anything, declined. Right? We are becoming more rigid in terms of whether people can move out of the income quintile, right, the 20% that they're born into, or intergenerationally move between them. So what we're seeing is growing inequality and diminishing mobility, right? And the vision, I think, that you're talking about, the promise that we were all given, I think, for the economy in the 70s when the sort of meritocratic model was really kind of constructed, was that, yes, we're going to get more inequality, right? We're going to get rid of union contracts, the things that allow people seniority and allow dead weight to hang around. But in exchange, the person with a good idea is going to be able to rise to the top, right? And we haven't, just as an empirical matter, in terms of where mobility and equality are, we have not gotten that.
But that's partly because our economy is not structured to foster that. I mean, not to critique the left, because you're good at that already, but
thank you.
But you know, when Obama or any great leftist looks at the problems of the economy, you know, generally what we think is, well, how are we going to get the banks to invest in a corporation so that the corporation can open a plant so that people can get jobs? Right. And that's not a system to create the kind of upward growth that you're talking about. What we're actually asking is, how can we create a playing field where people who have ideas can grow those ideas, maybe without even requiring huge amounts of investment capital in order to promote them, in order to create trade. You know, but what we've ended up with is an economy that discourages the kind of peer-to-peer sideways lateral trade and business growth, and favors instead sort of this more top-down VC investment.
Tamara, you see
yeah, I really want to get in here because the left and even the right loves to be obsessed with sort of the ideas economy. Now, let's all remember that only about a third of the nation has four-year college degrees. Right. So only a third of us are really operating in that ideas economy. And if we look out 10 years, where are the jobs going to be? Retail, home health care workers, other health services. So when I think about the economy and how we need to structure it, I want to think about how are we going to make sure where there is growth in jobs that can't be shipped overseas, we're going to have a decent quality of life in this country.
Right. And
we have got to improve job quality.
Tamara Draut is the Vice President of Policy and Programs for the progressive think tank Demos, author of the book Strapped: Why America's 20 and 30-somethings Can't Get Ahead. Thanks for coming in and talking about what an economy is for.
Be here.
Our pregame show for tomorrow's Sunday morning political talk shows coming up next.